So Cathie Wood and the ARK Invest team have probably been one of the hottest topics of discussion, especially on YouTube, over the last few months. And their ETFs have, they've been performing absolutely tremendously. If you look here, their assets under management have grown substantially, over $30 billion now in assets under management combined between all of their ETFs. The ARKG ETF is probably one of the more popular ones recently, the ARKK ARKF. These guys have a lot of ETFs, and investors over the last few months, over the last year really, have been flooding into ARK Invest. Just this last week though, we got headlines like GameStop drama is so big that it's overshadowing Cathie Wood. Her flagship $23 billion fund faces 3 days without inflows, hit by volatility, disappointing Tesla reports, and profit taking. And this is important to note. We look at this here, it actually shows us that this was the first time that ARK Invest actually saw outflows. The ARKK specifically saw outflows of more than $100 million in the past 3 days. If you look here, the fund has just been pulling in cash after cash after cash. This was pretty much the excitement. Every video on YouTube that talked about ARK Invest had ARK Invest in the title, had Cathie Wood in the thumbnail. Those videos did well. Those got tons of views, but you can see now, it's not as popular as it once was. And when you look at the numbers, you look at the facts, you can see people are actually leaving this fund for the first time in a very long time. Now, this article goes on to say that, specifically they're looking at ARKK. It's lost more than $100 million in the past 3 days, and it's kind of a drop in the bucket compared to the massive $23 billion fund in total. And that's true. It's not really the end of the world here, but it is a stark shift from the 18 straight days of inflows prior to this, including the best day on record, which is Jan 8th, with more than $500 million added into this fund. It says at the same time, its $11 billion ARKG fund has also lost for $100 million in the past 2 days. And this is clear. If you just pull up the charts for ARKK here, you can look at it over the last 5 days, over the last month. It's green, but ever since its peak, it's been pulling back and it's down around 6.5%. Look at the last 5 days, it's down around 7%. It's definitely seeing some pressure here, and the same goes for ARKG as well. The genomics ETF, probably one of the most hottest ETFs right now. Over the last month, doing well, but from its peak, down around 10%. Last 5 days, down around 8.77%. So clearly the outflows in ARK's funds are pushing selling pressure here, and it is being seen in the stock price itself. Now, this was another interesting article that I want to just bring up here and just kind of point you guys to. If you have time, check it out. ARK's ETFs may be too popular for their own good. And this is something that I've kind of thought about recently as well. As the fund keeps getting bigger and bigger, Cathie Wood has more and more influence, and they have just billions upon billions of dollars at their disposal, really, because people are throwing in that money into their funds. It brings up a different question, and that's outlined right here. The company ARK Invest owns too much of some companies that they invest in, which could limit its ability to select and trade stocks freely. Now, later on in this article, they actually show which individual companies they own a good chunk of. Aqua Bounty, this one they own nearly 30% of. Nano Dimension, another popular one by them, they own 21% of. And you can see a whole bunch of other pharmaceutical companies, genomics, that kind of stuff. And it's probably a big component of their ARKG fund, right? This is where the money has been going into recently. This is where all the hype has been around recently. And who knows, maybe it's time for a cool off here. Remember, markets go up and down. Markets take breathers, and this could be a long awaited breather that ARK actually needs so that they can actually focus on what matters, and that is finding good companies and not be limited by the options that they have because of all the money coming into them. And I just want you guys to understand this, because a lot of you follow ARK Invest blindly, and I'm going to reserve my comments on that, but I would always do due diligence no matter what. These guys are a massive fund. They can afford to miss out and lose on a few positions because they have so much money coming in. They are so well diversified. It really doesn't affect them all that much at the end of the day. But if you're investing in some of their companies and you're throwing in a good amount of your capital and that doesn't work out, you're going to be in big trouble. Now, the other thing was, like the article kind of referred to, Tesla, right? Tesla has had a phenomenal year, up and away. It's up 400% in the last year. But over the last month, things started to get a bit rocky. We got close to 900 per share. Now we're down around 10%. Over the last 5 days since we reported earnings, we're down around 7% on the stock. You can see here, this is with earnings, right? Now, Cathie Wood, ARK Invest, they're known for their Tesla investment, their call on Tesla, their bullish stance on Tesla, their crazy price targets on Tesla, which don't seem all that crazy anymore. But it's kind of a perfect storm, right? There's all this GameStop stuff going on where people have lost focus on ARK. They want to get into GameStop, so they're selling out of their ARK possibly and trying to play that. Who knows? There's also volatility picking up in the market, so investors are kind of taking profits. They're a bit afraid here. You can see that the S&P was actually down a bit over this last week, right? SP down around 3.5%, the biggest decline since October. So, scary headline, but realistically, since October, that's not really all that long, right? Stocks go up and down, remember that. But anyways, combination of this, combination of Tesla, combination of GameStop, it's kind of put a lot of pressure on ARK's funds, and as a result, we are seeing outflows in their stock for the first time. So guys, this is just a quick update video just to let you know what's going on, why the funds have kind of been a bit shaky recently. Now, I think that over the long term, these funds are probably going to be just fine. Personally, I'm waiting for better prices to get into something like an ARKG fund. That's the only fund that I'm really interested in. Because the other funds, I can kind of research those companies myself, understand those companies myself, pick the best of the best stocks from those ETFs out to invest in. But when it comes to genomics, it's not my strong suit. I don't really understand it all that well. And I think ARK has a good team behind this. So that's one I probably would get behind and consider investing in. But we'd have to get pretty low for this to be something that I would personally invest in. You can see over the last year, this thing has gone from a low of $26 to now currently over $100. So I think we see a good haircut on this of like 20-30%. Sure, that'll excite me. I may enter the stock at that point, but if we remain around these levels, I don't know, not really convincing enough for me, especially if the broader market corrects and there are better deals elsewhere in businesses that I understand better. Anyways, hope this video was useful. Hope this video kind of gave you some insight as to what's going on. Let me know in the comments what you're doing with your ARK positions. Have you been one of the people that have been selling the stock and contributing to this outflow here? Love to hear your thoughts in the comments down below, guys. But either way, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to invest positively, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.